What's up, fellas? Welcome back to another video. Today, guys, I kind of wanted to talk about Doom: The Dark Ages and some of the hate towards it. I feel like we should just lay out some of the things that are negative here and just take a look at what people are saying as far as why the game might be negative or why they might not enjoy the game. So if you're new here, I do commentary, reviews, news, and reactions. So welcome to the Dystopic channel, and let's go ahead and get straight to it. Now, one very big nitpick that I've seen throughout my time on the internet when it comes to looking at Doom: The Dark Ages specific type posts. A lot of people are not really into the concept of standing and fighting, you know, at least at first. A lot of people were kind of iffy about the style of fighting, and, you know, that's a valid concern if you are a huge fan of Eternal. But I don't even think that this is like the main point that people don't like about the game this day and age now that it's finally out, because people were mostly having that criticism before the game was even released. So now that the game is actually officially out, and it's been out for quite a while now, some of the main problems people have had, I've seen specifically with the game, is like some people have said that level design feels a little too repetitive, some people say, or that the levels themselves feel repetitive. And you know, I guess I've played through the entire game, so I can speak with experience. I guess I can kind of see what you mean. Like, a majority of those levels that are repetitive, kinda repetitive, the only way I can understand what that means is like, there's major maps, right? There's maps that are super huge and you've got lots of secrets, and you really are gonna go around. If you want to actually genuinely find everything, you're gonna be going around for a while and looking throughout all of these different areas, and that's just going to be a part of it. I mean, you're just going to be looking through a bunch of stuff, and I think that maybe that's a point that these people are trying to make when they say that maybe level design is too repetitive. Just that there's several major maps, and there's some, I guess there's different aspects to it that are similar within each one, maybe. And maybe that's something that they're talking about. But other than that, like, I still think that there's genuinely some, you know, very unique maps. I mean, I don't know. I never felt like personally in my run that was a concern for me. And the reason that was never a concern, I guess, is just because I'm more of like caring about story anyways. I'm not kind of like the type of guy to really be fixated on like small things, like, if the level design isn't like this, then this game is getting boring. But I mean, if you feel that way, then that's a valid concern. So I'm not gonna just, you know, knock it off or say that that's a bad thing if you feel that way, because you have a right to feel that way, is what I'm trying to say. Now, another thing I've seen people kind of dislike about the game, on another note, is the fact that, okay, you have to spend almost $100 to play a game that is solely a solo experience, story-driven game. And now, of course, there'll be a DLC in the future, which does promise us something, but once games come up to a certain price point, and especially games like Doom: The Dark Ages, where you can't, you know, play with people, or you can't, like, do more than the solo story, it really, I think it hurts sales. And, you know, that's what a lot of people seem to think. If you are trying to sell a game for $80 or $70, you know, US, and you want them to really want to spend this much, you know, I think people's main point is that you really need to have more than just the plain story to really make someone feel like it's worth what they spent. And, you know, I fully get that. I see that. And so that's why a big controversy right now with the game, and why some people are even calling the game a flop, is because the game itself, or id Studio, like, they have not released any information on how many sales. They've said how many people are playing the game within the first few days, but they have not, or how many downloads, right? But they've not said specifically sales. And a lot of people seem to believe this, and I would believe this honestly, but it's because of Game Pass. And now this brings into question, is Game Pass a good thing for gamers or not? Because while yes, it does save us a lot of money, and, you know, it's a great thing for people to be able to just play a game on release. Like, dude, if you can just spend $15 once a month or however long Game Pass is, depending on what version of Game Pass, then I mean, shit, yes, of course, get the free game. Like, why would you not do that? You know what I mean? And I think that obviously most people are going to spend $15 opposed to spending what, like $70 to play a full game when they could likely play the full game on Game Pass and never have to realistically spend that much money. Now, if you just have 70 to waste or 70 to throw at the game, like, you know, most average people don't, then, you know, it just becomes this thing where people are starting to question, are games becoming too expensive? Like, what's the budget like with games? Like, why are we going so up in price? And is Game Pass a good thing for those studios? Because realistically, I would imagine it's probably making them lose out on a lot of money. And making huge title games seem like they're flopping, or even possibly, you know, look like they're flopping. And once again, I'll just say this. It's not like these people, it's not like a majority of people are uninterested in Doom the Dark Ages, okay? A lot of people want to play the game. A lot of people like the game or might like the concept of the game. But that doesn't mean that everyone can afford it or want to spend that much cash into playing it. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like that's the only problem with it. Now, if there's any other ones I can mention, this will probably be a bonus, but you know, I do hear a lot of some bugs. You know, I don't know if it's just like level design bugs or if it's like story bugs. The only thing I think I've ran into, me personally, is, you know, kind of a strange bug where you get the shields at like their red hot level so that you can throw your shield saw and it'll break. And at one part during the first bits of the game, it's telling me how to do that. And well, for me, and this wasn't my first run, but for me, when I was doing this, for whatever reason, it kept telling me that I needed to throw the shield saw and do it, even though I had already killed multiple of them throwing the shield saw and, you know, breaking that red hot status that they had using the shield saw. And so I guess that was kind of the only bug I saw, but, or at least I experienced. But I have seen some online where like speedrunners can just clip through a wall if they, you know, like run through it a few times, or if they do something specific, and they can pass a whole entire giant level and just win the speed run and save themselves what, like 10 to 15 to 20 30 minutes worth in the game. And so that's a big deal, you know. I've even heard like reports of like some bugs that break Ultra Nightmare or break different modes. And so I just think that there's multiple things that are coming together to make this game have issues and be something that people are not happy about. Me personally, I love the game. You know, I will not say it's perfect because I don't believe that. And, you know, I fully get the price point. I don't think anyone should have to spend that much if they can absolutely help it. You know, I do think the Game Pass is a good thing for gamers. Maybe not the companies, but for gamers. So if there's anything I might have left out, or if you have just differing opinions, let me know. I don't really ever like try to be too opinionated on stuff like that. Like, it doesn't really bother me if you think otherwise than me. You know, I still love the game, but I know it has its issues, and so just let me know what you think. Like, I want to hear your opinions. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys. And anyways, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.